So the mic is working. So good afternoon. I'm very happy to see you. So there are not so many people here. Maybe people are just lying in beds. My name is Svitlana Botchenko, and I'm telling you how you become the individual entrepreneur in Ukraine. Maybe our foreign guests they are not quite interested in this topic, but probably it will be interesting to compare the processes with their processes in other countries. Thank you to the previous speaker, and I made the target so to add the new working language. So I actually stopped being ashamed of my Spanish and Polish, and I just put into my CV, and I'm thinking about adding a new European language, either Swedish or other ones. So what actually made me to choose this topic? So last time and during the UTIC camp, or 3 years ago, it was more people, like more communication, and this topic was coming up, about the taxes. So at that time, I didn't have any formal thing, and I came to several people. It's very simple, and that's it. They did not tell me what exactly, so it's very simple, if you know for sure. And that is why every person can answer why you need it. And every person could have, different motives. For example, more clients that choose you, however, so many clients they just throw money on your private bank card. So, and then you may not pay. Why should you pay if it's possible not to pay? So, or probably it's better to pay something like taxes and then have more possibilities, more opportunities, especially working with the foreign counterparts. So because they are asking how exactly they should formulate the money transfer so that we could get it on our cards. So like coming out of the shadows, so kind of keeps equalizing. So step 0. So I'm going to have very practical one. It's not about the translation.
So actually you can receive your digital signature as a first step. I would recommend doing this even if you don't plan to become an individual entrepreneur. My 16-year-old daughter did so. I recommended her to do that. It's really convenient to use digital signature. You can use it at various public authority portals where you can get some services. This signature simplifies the procedure when you have to be registered as an individual entrepreneur. There are certain places where you can do that. First of all, accredited certification center for the digital signatures, or Center of Administrative Services. You have to go there, fill out a form, a special form. You have to bring a scanned copy of your taxpayer's card and your citizen's ID. This requires 15 minutes at most. You can receive your digital signature at once. It's already valid. You have to update it in 2 years. And it doesn't require any outside activities. You can do it from your home computer. So, registering your individual entrepreneur or physical entity entrepreneur. Let me say it like this. If you want to work with international counterparts, you have to choose the third group, tax group. It's the only group that enables you to receive foreign currency. And of course, there are certain limitations for this tax group. I'm sure you will reach this 5 million hryvnias per year once, but it's not the current state for all of us. Nonetheless, we have to reach for the sky and strive for that. You can, of course, hire employees if you have chosen this third tax group. You will pay 5% for taxes. Tax service does not need to know what you spent, your expenditures. You pay this fixed 5%. Once a year, you have to submit a tax report. So, actually, let's talk about registration. There are 3 options. First, it's quite simple. You don't have to go anywhere. There is this user's account, where you can register your company. There are several fields you have to fill out. You press the submit button. You use your digital signature to sign and certify your application. This registration is fulfilled within a day. Don't repeat my mistake, and don't do that at the end of the month, because you will pay for the current month, even if you register on the last day of a month. In January, I did it on the last day of January. In January, I had no work at all, but I still paid the entire amount for January. Here I am showing the links of state administrative service centers and their websites. You can fill out these forms, sign them with your signature, digital signature, and submit them. These services are not so prompt. It takes time for them to process your applications. And yes, there is an option number 3, state register service. There is some place in your city, I'm sure you can find it, and you bring your citizen ID copy. You have to choose a classifier of economic activity. The number for this classifier 34.40 is for translation. You can later complement one code for the classifier of economic activities if you need it. Let's say you want to add information services, or you can do so. You don't need to pick all necessary codes at the very beginning. I have a lot of these codes indicated in my registration certificate. This enables me to provide various services in the, advertisement, educational field, whatever you can think about. Journalism, whatever. I believe I have more than 10 of these codes for the public classifier of economic activities. Okay. So after that, you receive this extract from the state register. As a rule, your counterparts are going to ask you for the copy of this registration extract. They have to stamp it, and then later, after you receive this extract, you have to physically go to your tax service. You have to submit an application. You have to write down that you want to be single taxpayer. They will give you out this taxpayer's accounting book. You will also receive a single taxpayer's certificate. these are your main documents: extract from the state register and the taxpayers registration copy. So congratulations, you have registered your individual entrepreneur as a physical entity. Now you are liable in case you have some financial liabilities. Your property is collateral, could be collateral in this scenario, even the property you possess together with your spouse, because now you are a legal entity. So actually the sanctions could be applied to you in case you fail to satisfy your creditors, let's say. Now, what do we do next? We have to open a bank account. I'm always trying to do everything possible, which is possible, to do it online to save time. I still have some time, and this is I usually use Privatbank as my bank provider. They can also let you use your digital signature as an identifier. It's really convenient. They give you step-by-step instructions. It's really simple. So once you opened your bank account, you're registered, you are now a taxpayer officially. Now let's inform your counterparts that from this day onwards you can process all documents officially, so you're out of the shadow. And after that, you will get all your money onto your official bank accounts. There is no problem for you to receive national currency or foreign currency, whatever. Everything is fine and nice. If you have some counterparts abroad, you will still have to prove you obey, you follow the laws, and you will have to prove the sources of your revenues. Now everything's simplified compared to the previous times. There were a lot of limitations. 3 years ago, when you registered your individual entrepreneur, you had to answer so many questions. Now you have 3 ways to confirm the sources of your revenues. I mean the legal sources. You can scan your invoices and submit them. You can submit them online on Privatbank website, and they give templates you can see and do similarly. You can also create a PDF copy of your invoice and submit it. If you have a lot of invoices to the same counterpart, you can submit a copy of an agreement with this counterpart, and you can kind of inform the bank that you will receive money over and over from this company, because otherwise they are going to call you every time and ask you, are you sure that this company sent you money, transferred money? Yeah, so actually, to solve this problem ahead, you have to submit this copy of your agreement with this counterpart. A small specification: if an amount is below 1,500 euros, you don't need to specify sources. 150,000 hryvnias, everything which is below this limit, you don't have to submit any specifications, any confirmations. Yeah, this is already new law, but I know that my colleague who works with Alpha Bank has had some problems. He couldn't actually receive his money for 3 weeks. So actually, this could be the case. When you work with offer agreements with Google or other giants, you can forward this copy of this agreement to the bank. So now we are not obliged to sell foreign currency. We used to have this obligation. We had to sell 50% of all foreign currency, then 30%. So now you are not obliged to do so. You can still have the entire amount. This 150,000 hryvnias is the limit. Whatever is below this amount is not subject to the currency surveillance. The main thing you have to keep track of is these confirmations. So, tax service, how can we avoid problems? We have to submit, we have to pay taxes on time. We have to keep track of all the amounts. They should be paid precisely, like it's shown on the screen, and they have to be paid on time. Single tax, 5% of your revenues has to be paid on quarterly basis. We also have to submit tax reports. This could be done through your taxpayer user's account. This is really convenient because they have these are examples of their forms. So actually at this they have a very interesting section which is status of settlements with the budget. It's really nice because you can check and see if you have forgotten something, or maybe you have some fines and penalties, you have to redeem them immediately. You can do that. This is really, really comfortable for us. So again, the declaration has to be submitted once in 3 months on a quarterly basis. And speaking of the unified social tax, you have to submit declarations on this tax once a year. What do you gain due to your registered status? Apart from your good consciousness, you can count on pension once you reach the age. Yes, and you can also have state benefits in case you have some health problems. Recently I used this opportunity and I had 25 days of paid sick leave from the state, health insurance fund. This is a guaranteed 100% right for us, the legal, the individual entrepreneurs. My friend received twice the benefits due to her maternity leave. I haven't checked it personally yet, but maybe one day. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. This is me. If you want to ask any question about this topic, I can share my presentation with all these templates and forms, a lot of additional documents that are really convenient. Of course, this can be Googled and found, but this is all together consolidated in one presentation. This could save you some time. If a client pays through Skrill system, how can we deal with that? We can say, oops, this is your personal responsibility. Yeah, we can comment together. I've had some experience. I worked with Pioneer. My bank said I had to indicate in my invoice that Pioneer pays. And actually in parentheses I indicated the amounts. And I had no problem whatsoever. I received my money on my individual entrepreneur bank account and everything was really smooth and fine. Actually, this is not recommended, but in principle one can do so. As a physical entity, you can do it. Maybe other questions? No?
English-speaking France, our taxes are way lower than in Europe. They are maybe 10 or 20 times lower. From one hand, from another hand, we've got our imbalances in the state that can change them anytime.
Навешенность, такая нестабильность в государстве, и это может измениться ситуация в любой момент. Yes, in fact, this is so cheap. Our taxes are so low compared to other countries. This is just peanuts. Some people from the Western world can hear this figure 5% for taxes and see it as something unbelievable. Yeah, obviously they are going to increase the rate. But still, we have to pay this money. And not everyone is capable of registering officially as a physical entity and start paying these 5%, ridiculous 5%. You wouldn't call them, you would call them offshore businessmen. Speaking of the classifiers of economic activities, I also had several codes, including computer program development, and my bank account said your primary code is for translation and everything else is kind of do not matter. And they didn't give me a discount I wanted. Our tax service is now planning to increase taxes for the developers, for the software developers, up to 20%, because our IT companies work usually on this mechanism where every developer has their own physical entity registered. And we move on.